Thomas with Reports on Housing. Have a special guest. Only have one of the kids here.
Hello.
Go see if Zeke wants to participate really quick while we wait for people to jump on. That was a Mason Edward. Let's go see if Zeke's available. We have these cameos in the middle of our presentation. Kind of breaks the flow. It's kind of cool to get these cameos done nice and early. So wait for everybody to jump on really quick. And it's a great introduction to the kids. I know that Alana and Athena are bicycling home as fast as they possibly can because we have a soccer tournament down in San Diego. And we also have, Athena is going to be having a soccer tournament here in Laguna Niguel that Nana is going to take her to. So she gets to hang out with Nana all weekend. So both of them are very excited. So I'm sure they're going to be pedaling home as fast as they possibly can. Anyway, we will go ahead and begin the housing debrief. Let's get right into it. I'd like to, first of all, of course, let's see. Let me put it in here. Here we go. Thank our sponsor. Our sponsor is Kevin Buddy from Monarch Coast Financial. And, of course, he deals with more than one kind of borrower. So there's got to be more than one kind of loan. Everything from full documentation loans to alternative documentation loans, investor financing, and private money loans. So pretty much anything he has to do with lending, Kevin Buddy understands it inside and out. And plus, he knows a lot about the economy too. It's very fun to sit down and talk with him about the economy. He has loads and loads of experience. He's been around doing this since 1976. So he's been around the block, been doing this for a long time. And he just understands how to do financing better than anybody that I've come across. You can contact Kevin Buddy and let him help you as well at 949-422-2075. That's 949-422-2075. Thanks again, Kevin Buddy, for your continued sponsorship of the Housing Debrief. And let's talk about a company. It's Reports on Housing. It's your local real estate snapshot. We deliver a subscription that comes out every other week. Orange County, San Diego, Los Angeles gets one this week, and San Bernardino, or next week, and San Bernardino, Riverside County got theirs this week. And I am that nerd, the quantitative economics and decision sciences nerd. I understand economics. That's why I can actually speak to it. Unlike a lot of the vloggers that are out there, a lot of them are investors or people that have a take on the housing market, but they don't have a lot of experience in economics. And I've been doing economics for decades now. And we have, like I said, reports all over Southern California. The most recent one that came out was Unhealthy Pace. San Bernardino, Riverside got theirs this week, and LA, San Diego, and Orange County got theirs last week. This coming up week is a new report, and it's going to be about the transition into the auto market, because I'm definitely seeing it in spades within each of the counties. And I can talk to that much more in those individual reports. So subscribe and get those reports. And you can go to reportsonhousing.com, click on subscribe. It's $15 per month or $150 per year. You get a month free if you sign up utilizing the coupon code PEAKING. So please go take a look at our website and subscribe to the reports. It will make a difference in your real estate careers. And people say it's really strength is data, it's power, and it really does help people out. But really quick, I wanted to start off with something funny. And this is taken from Zillow, where there was a Zestimate of $382,934. And look, it's owned by Zillow. This is in Colorado Springs, and yet they have it listed at $397,900. So once again, you got to show this to your clients so that they know that even Zillow doesn't rely on their Zestimates. So I thought that was funny. Had to share it. I'm sure you're all out there laughing. But let's get into Yikes, we peaked. Because yikes, we peaked. And I'll let you know why I say yikes momentarily, because some people are going, yeah, I knew it was coming and that type of thing. Like, good thing it's coming. Actually, it's not something that I was rooting for. I was rooting for a much later peak. But in following the data and understanding it, knowing it, I could feel that it was coming. And sure enough, it did. So let's talk about the Southern California housing supply. And this is the inventory as of last night. So if I look at it right now, this is where it's at. Today, it was down 4%. We shed 748 homes. We dipped down below 20,000 again, which the last time we were there was in July. So we're already dipping down. And it's the first drop since April. It's the first drop since April and the largest drop since February of this year. So it was a very large drop of 748 homes. And I think in February it was like 840 homes where we dropped. We don't usually drop in February, but that was that market we were just eating into any existing inventory. Hang on just a second. I'm going to shut the door because I hear too many people yelling out there. I'm back. Hard to concentrate when you hear a 4-year-old or 3.5-year-old skip their nap and he's dictating exactly how it's going out there. Anyways, last year, 25,476. That's 28% more than where we are today. But you have to understand, can't compare this year to last year because last year was definitely muted and it was the beginning of the erosion of our inventory after peaking back in at the end of April last year. So it just kept on eroding down. So we're comparing it to last year, which was very, very low. It was the lowest since I started tracking this last year at this time, and now it's even lower. So 28% more last year at this time. The 3-year average of 2017, 18, and 19 normal markets, we actually had 40,887. So that's 106 more than percent more than where we are today, which means we are that is more than double. Where we should be today is right around that 40,000 home mark for this time of the year. And it is starting to come down when I look at 3-year average, but guess what? It didn't come down as much as we came down in the last couple of weeks of 4%. So a big drop there. And if you see, I've talked about before, this is where we peak from July through towards the end of August when the kids go back to school. And certainly that is exactly what happened. Kids went back to school and now we're seeing an erosion in the number of homes coming on the market. And people are going, how can that be? And I'm telling you, I follow how many homes are come on the market every single month. And when we get to September, it's just not the heydays of the real estate market. That's spring. That's April and May and June. Those 3 months tend to be the months with the most number of homes coming on the market. And even this March is in there too. So March through June is the height. Then July, August dips down a little bit. And then we get into September. Now we're into this fall market and fewer homes come on the market. And we're starting to see that in the erosion of the active inventory. And where are we going to go from here? It's going to continue to go down. And then once we get to Thanksgiving, about a week beforehand, we see this drop further and the inventory will drop even more. So if you look at it, this is where the Southern California active listing inventory has behaved from this year to where we are today. And if you look at it, and if I do a close-up, you're going to see, you can actually see the peak when you look in time of the inventory. So it's already peaking, it's coming down, which means that if you look at this, it really is, look at that. It really is a very low number where we are at today, and it's only going to go down from here, which is going to exacerbate the problem that we presently have in the real estate market. So the Southern California inventory, in looking at the last, I don't know, I bumped this slide up a little bit, but anyways, Southern California inventory in each of the different counties. In Los Angeles, it's at 8,300 homes on the market right now. The peak was on August 19th at 8,702. So you can see starting to come down in Los Angeles. Orange County, 2,289. The peak was on July 22nd at 2,537. So it too is making its way down. Riverside County is at 3,305. It has not peaked. It's at the same exact level that it was at 2 weeks ago. So it's kind of flat. And that's typically what sometimes the inventories, when they peak, do. They kind of flatten up before they start to fall. And in San Bernardino County, we're at 3,094. There's no peak. Last week was 3,052. San Bernardino is one of those where they were below 2,000 homes and they've really grown in the inventory. So their market has appreciatively slowed down from when they were in the almost, I think it was right around 19 days on the market. The expected market time has blossomed to over 30 days on the market right now. Still, anything below 40 is extremely hot. That's where they're still behaving, but they are getting more inventory. But it looks like they too are approaching their peak. We'll know within the next week or two. And then San Diego County is at 3,000. 3,095. The peak was on August 5th at 3,180. So it too is coming down. So pretty much LA, Orange County, and San Diego along the coast, definitely coming down. And it would be even more of a percentage down if San Bernardino, Riverside County would join the forces, but the Inland Empire is taking a week or two longer, it looks like. And think about it. What is going on? I've talked about it before. It's the seasonality of the market. That's what's going on. We have a spring market. That's the best. Then we have summer, second best. Then we have autumn. We can explain all of this. Then there's actually a fourth season is not winter. It's in between autumn and winter is the holiday market. And then we get winter. Each one behaves completely different from the other markets. And we are in the midst of autumn for sure. Even though technically it's not till later on in this month, we already see it in the numbers as soon as the kids go back to school. And that's the inventory slowly drops and demand slowly drops as well, typically at the same rate. So you get a flat line in what the market feels like. And I'll show you that in a second too. But so the kids went back to school. And when the kids go back to school, it's just not the best time for a family to make a move. And I've talked about it before. Last year it was easier because to make a move during the fall market, and we had delayed spring. So still families were doing it. And that's also had a little bit to do with the fact that the kids weren't in school. They were doing social distancing from home. They were at home, logging into their classrooms and not in person like it is this year. This year, everybody's in, all the kids are in school, and it really does make a difference. It makes it so that those families don't want to necessarily move because it would mess with the children too much. And normally families like to move, they say the spring. So the spring is not Super Bowl. It's not March. It's the end of March. And April, May is the peak time where we get typically a peak in demand, the number of buyers that are participating. So April and May and June are those peak months because they're setting up for closing when the kids are out of school. So you understand that. So now that the kids are in school, it's just not as favorable time for families to move. So it brings down the number of homes that come on the market. So we're going to start 2022, and I'm looking at my crystal ball right now. I almost bought a crystal ball the other day, by the way. I thought it'd be fun as a little prop, but this is my prop right now. So I'm looking into my crystal ball, and we're looking at where the inventory is. You can see that I talked about this. This is the United States housing inventory, and you can see every year after we peak, it comes down like crazy. 2020 was a different drop because we peaked so early that it just kept on dropping throughout the year, and it got down to a very, very low level. Now, since we've risen, and if I blow this up and I show you, we will continue what it will show, because this is just through July, that there will be kind of a peak in August and maybe come up a little bit more in September. And then it's going to fall, and it will fall down to numbers like what we started off this year, or what I'm thinking for Southern California, at least what I'm seeing in the numbers. It just depends upon what happens in Riverside and San Bernardino. We may have fewer homes in the market to start out this year compared to the start of this year. So 2022, fewer homes coming to start the year compared to the start of 2021. It's hard to wrap your head around because we already were slogging through this market with nothing on the market. And it's hard to fathom that there'd be even less in the tank, fewer homes available to show buyers. And so that's crazy. And it makes us all want to scream. That's not what I was rooting for. Instead, we're seeing these trends. There is a trend that is going on, and this new trend started with the Great Recession. Prior to the Great Recession, a lot of people were using their houses like commodities. Everybody is buying one. They felt like FOMO, fear of missing out. They wanted to go purchase a home. So they went out there and they've all bought houses. Even if they could barely afford one, they still would squeak in, that type of thing. There was a lot of speculation. And we all know that out of the Great Recession, afterwards, people changed the way that they viewed housing. No longer was an incredible investment. That's not the way we were looking at it. We were looking at it as home, a long-term investment, not necessarily speculative like the way we were treating it during those first decade of the 2000s. And then we got into COVID-19, and I'm afraid there's a new trend that has developed on how we're looking at our home. We even have looked deeper, and now we not only see it as a not just a long-term investment, but we really care about all the amenities. Does it have an office? Playing at home? What kind of a yard does it have? Does it have a pool? Does it have a park nearby? Walkability? All those things have changed, and it's really done this great, this big shift from COVID. This great migration all over the place. It was kind of a reshuffling of the deck, and it's changed. There's a new trend that has evolved, and I'm seeing it. And I saw it after the Great Recession with fewer for sale signs. So people did not sell their homes as often coming out of the Great Recession. And I could show it in a gigantic spreadsheet, and I've done it before. But that's not that would get into the weeds. Instead, I'll tell you what's happened since. And now that we've gone into this pandemic, and I'm starting to see a new trend that's evolved, because all of 2020 for Southern California was down 9% or missing 24,348 homes. And for January to August of 2021, I just did these numbers, down 8% or missing 16,074 homes so far this year through August. So you could see that trend is, and it's always, even when I was doing it after the Great Recession, it was give or take 1 or 2%. But I'm seeing this trend is sticking. People are not selling their homes. They're not placing their homes on the market as often as they did prior to the Great Recession. And then after COVID, now they're placing their homes on the market not as often as they did prior to COVID. So there's been this shift, and yet we're still selling just as many homes. But what's as we did last year, we'll probably exceed last year, and even this year will exceed the last several years. And we're doing it with fewer homes coming on the market, which ultimately means that we're eating further into the supply of homes, the supply of available homes to show your buyers. So that's something, and this is just like it's kind of like put us behind the 8 ball. It is it's bad luck. I was hoping that this isn't what we would have. I was hoping that we'd see inventory continue to go up, but it's kind of like gum on your shoe at this point, because that's not what I was wishing for, but I was seeing it in the numbers, and it's what I have to talk about is what's going on in the marketplace. This is where a lot of people go, this is where I think it's going to crash, Steven. I'm sitting there, well, then why is the inventory coming down and the market continuing to be just as hot going into for the rest of the year and into 2022? I just don't see it in the data and numbers. So I'm here to tell you this is not what I was looking for at all. Instead, I was hoping that we'd have higher interest rates at this point, and then we could see the inventory rise, because that is what it's going to take. And and I can see it's like a speeding out of control locomotive at this point, and it's just like a freight train. And I can see this thing coming slowly but surely. It's like nobody's really like watching the numbers like us housing economists do, but we look at everything and then we see it coming, and then we talk about it. And unfortunately, it's going to continue to be that freight train, and you can see it in the numbers. You can see it in this in the Case-Shiller National Composite. It's actually up almost 19% year over year in this chart on the right hand side, and it is the highest number. It exceeds 2012, 2013. The only thing that slowed down 2013 is higher interest rates. Yet we have these low interest rates, and it's the highest national index ever recorded, the highest composite 20 ever recorded. We're seeing these high numbers, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop until it gets past 20%. And that means that we're going to get to a point where if we're not going to get enough inventory to slow this thing down, it's going to get to a point where things get so out of whack as far as values are concerned that buyers will just walk away. They'll turn away and walk away after they take a look at it. And when enough buyers do that simultaneously, what we will see is inventory start to rise as prices get up to that level, which means they're not there yet. We're definitely not at the point where buyers are walking away because values have gotten too high. Instead, we're seeing buyers continue to play in this marketplace because the market remains hot. The market time remains hot. And until I see more inventory coming on and demand coming down, then we'll watch market time rise. That's not what we're seeing. So we're going to see more of the same throughout the rest of this year. And it's going to tee up 2022, a very hot 2022, until we finally arrive at that astronomical price down the road where there will be enough buyers that turn away so that we can accumulate more inventory. And I think that ultimately is what is going to be slowing down our marketplace. So, here it is. This is a close up of it. I think I put it in the wrong slide. Anyways, so overall, there is plenty of demand out there. SoCal demand is extremely hot. If you look at this is interest rates. Interest rates have been flat. They went to 2.87%, down to 2.86, back up to 2.87, then 2.87 this week. It's just been flat. It's just been boring out there as far as mortgage rates are concerned. Not a lot of volatility in rates lately, and that's because overall, long-term investments haven't really changed much. There haven't been people that have been more scared or less scared for it to make the numbers more volatile. And you have to remember that is in spite of the fact that the Federal Reserve is talking about tapering. And they've already said that they're going to do it. But then we had a weird jobs report today that was off, and we had one earlier this week. Doesn't mean that we're still adding jobs. We just didn't do as many this month as we thought. But the overall average per month so far in 2021 is 500,000 jobs every single month plus. So we're slowly but surely eating into that unemployment. And I think, like Logan has said it best, a year from now, we should probably be back to full employment prior to the pandemic. But also coronavirus, we have that Delta virus that's out there spreading around, and it hasn't changed the numbers either. So that we still, even though we've had the tapering talk, really not a lot has happened with 10-year treasuries. Not a lot has happened with interest rates. Excuse me for a second. Hey, dude. I've got an audience in here, and I think I'm boring my audience. Low interest, the fuel to this hot demand are low interest rates. And if you look at demand, the last 30 days worth of escrow activity, that's what I take the snapshot, same thing over time. And if you look at that, this is where it is as of over like the last 2 weeks. Today, 18,279. It actually came down 2%, down 438 pending sales. Remember, I said inventory falls, and so does demand. Demand falls. They've kind of fallen at simultaneously similar rates. So what you're seeing is that yes, demand is falling a little bit. Just as I said, it's not the best time for families to make a move. It's not the best time for families to place their homes on the market. So overall, it's kind of a wash out there. And that's typically what happens towards the end of the year. And last year we were at 21,313. That's 17% higher than where we are today. And that's 3,034 more. And people go, wow, look at how great it was last year. But last year, this was the spring. This was the spring of last year. And in some markets, like Orange County, for instance, they hadn't even peaked yet last year at this time. So if you see that, that's just, you can't compare this year to last year. You can't do it in any of the real estate data, because earlier in the year, this year looks phenomenal compared to last year. And right now it looks less than last year. And I've heard plenty of people talk about this phenomenon, as well as purchase applications on the mortgage side of things, the number of purchase applications out there, that year over year it's negative. Well, year over year it's negative because of this, exactly what I'm showing you here. So we knew that this was coming. The 3-year average is 15,696. That's 14% less than where we are today. So you can see where we are today is still elevated in spite of the fact that we aren't placing as many homes on the market and our inventory is so low. So which just shows you that homes that come on the market fly off the market. And we continue to have that auction-like atmosphere where everything's selling for over asking. And CAR updated their slides, and I was able to utilize this one from California Association of Realtors. And for the month of July, we were at 70.6% of all closed sales in the month of July sold for above asking price. Now, what tends to happen when you go from July to August is it tends to go down a little bit. From June to July, which it did just a tiny bit, and then July to August, it'll be a little bit more down, but it's still what remains is the fact that we're very elevated, and it will be elevated for the remainder of the year with multiple offers on just about everything. So just understand that 7 out of 10 homes are selling for over asking price right now. So the demand, if you look at it, where we're going to go from here, it's going to continue to go down, just like the inventory, because that's what demand does. And it will continue to slide a little bit, and then we'll get to the Thanksgiving and it will drop like a rock. So what does that do to how fast this market is? Oops, I don't know what that is. Anyways, today we're at 33 days. It's flat. It's at no change from 2 weeks ago. And if you look at that, that is actually a pretty darn straight line. Last year, we were at 36 days at this time, and the 3-year average is 76 days. So still where we are today is hotter than last year. You can see the lines are almost dancing right parallel to each other. And 3-year average is a lot higher than where we are. There's been no change in the expected market time in 6 weeks now. So we've been at the same 33 days for 6 weeks. So what you felt 6 weeks ago is exactly what you feel right now. And I have had some agents go, well, it's a little bit different right here, and I'm just noticing it here. But I'm here to tell you what you're experiencing in your market doesn't make the market. So you have to not just look at the micro markets. You have to look at all of the markets. Did you want to say hello?
Yes.
This is really quick. AJ. Alana Joe, we're going where this weekend?
San Diego
for
soccer
what?
tournament.
Oh, soccer tournament. She's got a soccer tournament. Can't wait for that. You bicycled home as fast as you could, didn't you?
Well, Athena took forever again, so trying.
She went as fast as she possibly can.
Well, my backpack kept on falling off, so I had to keep on stopping.
Well, that stuff happens, man. That's rough. That is really rough. Well, I'll see you in a minute because we're going to leave right after this podcast.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you for joining us, Alana Joe. Anyways, if you look at the expected market time year over year, this is market time. Place your home on the market. When are you going to open up escrow? And it below 90 is a seller's market. Below 60 is hot seller's market. Below 40 is where it's insane. It's insanity. That's where we have been since July of last year. It has remained insane. And where we're going to go for the rest of the year, it's just going to be flat like it was the last 6 weeks. It will continue out through the end of the year. And there will be no change. Once again, what you see is what you get. And just, you know what? Follow what I have to say. And the only reason why I say that is not to pat my own back, is because I'm a nerd. I love all data. I love all stats. I look at a myriad of charts, not just local charts, macro charts, all over the United States and even around the world. I love data and I love charts. So I have an economic model that I follow for everything that I do along the housing side of things. So that's who you want to stay, who you want to follow and tune into on YouTube or Facebook or subscribe to the report, of course, to get all the latest data so you can arm yourself. And instead of listening to these YouTube people think that they have a take, but I'm telling you, this is not what their background is. They don't have the credentials for it. Ask what their credentials are. It's not the fact that they've been really good at investments. It's what kind of an economic pedigree do they have, and what does their economic model actually look like? So if you want a copy of this, you need to be a subscriber. Go ahead and put it in the chat. We'd be more than happy to send this your direction. So put it into the chat. We can send you a copy of it, and you have to be a subscriber. Reportsonhousing.com. If you're not a subscriber, click on subscribe, and we will send you the latest reports. And you'll get another report if you're in Orange County, San Diego, and Los Angeles this coming up week. $15 per month or $150 per year. And you get a month free if you utilize the coupon code PEAKING, because that is what we have done. And thank you again, Kevin Buddy, for being a continued sponsor of our program. He deals with everything from full doc loans to private money loans, everything in between. And he's been doing this since 1976. So, man, he has loads and loads of experience. Contact Kevin Buddy. He's my buddy, your buddy, Kevin Buddy. He's helped us out personally, our family, so he can help you out too. His number is 949-422-2075. That's 949-422-2075. And I do have a couple. Let's see what they have to say. Todd has a very long one. Wall Street, with their algorithms and unlimited funds, have moved heavily into the housing market, taking significant positions they no doubt want prices to rise so they can cash out with huge profits? When do you see Wall Street shorting the market and dumping their holdings? And you know what? That is one of those myths that is propagated by all of the all the press, and as well as bloggers, vloggers, all the videos that are out there. The true number of investors that are participating is so insanely tiny that it really wouldn't move the needle if they flooded the market. They're not the ones that are behind this giant increase in values, and they're not going to flood the market down the road either. So I absolutely don't see this. We will email a copy of this. I do have to run. I'll answer any other questions that you have later on because we have to jump in a car and go get down to San Diego, and I have kids that are itching for me to finish. So I will take a look at this later, and I'll send you copies of the presentation for those of you that are subscribers. We will see you on the other side of this fantastic, beautiful Labor Day weekend. Go enjoy it. Have a fun one, and we will see you next week. Thank you for joining us. And here he is. We ready to go?
Yeah.
All packed? Everybody's all packed. Dad has a couple more things to do, and then I got to go load the car. But anyways, thank you very much, everybody. Have a fantastic holiday weekend. We will see you on the